Alright, in this video, I'll give you another example of the power of object-oriented programming and why we do it. So let's say I have a student, alright? I'm going to make a blueprint to create a student. Here's my student class. Now, what does a student consist of? Well, they have at school an ID, they have a name, they have family, they have hobbies, talents, bedtimes, a lot of things, alright? I'm just going to focus on a couple of those. Let's go ahead and give a student an ID. And I made it long. It might not need to be long depending on the size of your school or school district and how they assign IDs, but I'm just going to make it long. They have a first name, last name, and they have, let's say, a grade level, 9, 10, 11, 12, or K through 12. So let's give that a byte. Or it could be a string of kindergarten, but we could just make that 0. Let's make that a byte. Alright. Maybe we should put a maturity level. No, let's not do that. Alright, so a student consists of ID, first name, last name, grade level. Alright, and to construct a student, I would just do pass in an ID, pass in a string, pass in a last name, and pass in a grade level. Byte. And again, the reason why I'm naming my parameters these really bad names is so that you can see that really I can name these parameters whatever I want. These parameters are going to be basically people are going to be calling my constructor and passing in values, and those values inside this constructor will be referred to as underscore ID, underscore first name, blah, whoa. So let's go ahead and assign that. Your variable names can really be whatever you want, but it's always good practice to make them something meaningful. Compile. Awesome. Now, there are a lot of students in a class period. So let's go ahead and make a class to represent the class period. Or period, doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to have the student one open side by side. Class period. So a class period it has a lot of things. It has a number. It has a time. It has students in there. It has a teacher. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to focus on students. So in a class period, alright, we have students. Now if I didn't have this class made, this object made, how could I represent a student? Well, I can represent them by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25 students probably. So here's what I'd have to do. Alright, copy paste. Alright, as you can see, doing that for all of that time, 25 times, depending on how many students are in the class, is really hard. And it's really tedious, and there's no need to do it. Instead, why don't we make a data structure to hold all these students? Now, I haven't introduced arrays yet, but bear with me, okay? What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and assign an array of students. Okay? And that's how we signify an array of students. And I'm going to name it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. We have the access type. We have the type of, this is the type of primitive, right? Primitive type, long. This is an object type. It is a student array. Basically an array that holds student objects in there. Finally, I have my variable name, ID, and I have my variable name, students. If you don't fully understand what this is saying, that's okay. Just know that I can put a lot of student objects in here. And finally, if I was to construct a student class period, I would probably just pass in how many students I have, right? And then I would construct an array with that number of students. And there we go. This is okay for now. Alright. Compare this with what we were about to do, which is copy and paste this 25 times. Yeah, no. I'm just gonna comment that out to leave it in memory. Compare above with this mess. Again, we see the power of objects, alright? Especially this data structure student array. Now, let's go ahead and make one more class. Let's call it teacher. Now, what comprises a teacher? Receding hairline, memory loss, brain cell losing, a lot of things. Receding hairline doesn't apply to me right now. I'm a little young. But definitely a brain cell lost. Let's not think about that. I have a name, but let's not think about that either. Let's go ahead and just say a teacher consists of basically the class periods they teach. Alright? Now, think about if I didn't have class period made, or if I didn't have student made. Think about that. How would you even begin to describe a class period? Well, what you could do, I don't really want to type it all out. You could do this. 1, 1. So, the first number stands for the period. The second number stands for the student number in that class period. And I could continue doing this. Alright, I need to get better at copying and pasting. So I can make this the fourth student, the fifth student. Oh boy. Alright, and let's say this is the second period. I don't even want to do all this. Let's just do one more example, or two more. This is the fifth period, the sixth student. This is the second period, the fourth student. Alright, it all works if you compile. But this is really annoying, right? So much code when we could just simplify it. I'm going to go ahead and comment that out actually. I don't want to deal with that. Now, let's go away from these primitive types. Well, string is kind of an object, but these built-in things. And let's go ahead and use the classes and objects we created. Alright, so let's use the student and the grade period class. Class period. A teacher, we can say, consists of the class periods they teach. Again, we're going to see this array that you haven't seen yet. Okay, but that's okay. Class periods. And in my constructor, I'm missing my... Basically, I'm going to pass in a value, them class periods. And using that value, I'm going to construct my array. Oof, can't use class. Sorry. New class period. And how many of them do I have? Well, I have num class periods. So this is the number of class periods I teach, and I'm going to construct an array with essentially that many class periods. So we see the power of object-oriented programming. How much code do I have to write? That much. How much code do I have to write without objects? I'm not even done writing with this. Alright. Hopefully this really drives home why we do object-oriented programming. And hopefully you take it into heart to always try to use objects when you can.